As tensions reach a critical boiling point in West Asia, Iran has signaled its intent to deliver a devastating response to Israel's October 26th strikes. The U.S. is bolstering its military presence with strategic B-52 bomber deployment. This high-stakes confrontation is unfolding against the backdrop of complex regional dynamics and the U.S. presidential election. Here's a report.
Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei issues a direct warning, describing any response to U.S. or Israeli aggression as forceful and unforgiving. President Masoud Pezeshkian asserts Iran's unwillingness to let Israel's airstrikes go unanswered. A warning echoed by Iranian guards of using more powerful weapons and hitting targets previously not hit by Iran.
The patterns of our response to the aggressions of the Zionist regime are clear, and at the same time it's natural that we should use all our material and spiritual resources to respond to the aggressions of the Zionist regime. And in this context, we will use all our resources with all our might.
Tehran is also planning to increase the range of its ballistic missiles and possibly review its nuclear doctrine amid growing tensions with arch-enemy Israel and tit-for-tat missile and airstrikes. Iran is likely to up the range of its ballistic missiles beyond a self-imposed limit of 2,000 kilometers. Kamal Karazi, an advisor to Iran's Supreme Leader, says although Iran has the technical capability to produce nuclear weapons, Tehran is currently held back by a fatwa, or religious decree, issued in the early 2000s by Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The recent Israeli airstrike on October 26 targeted key Iranian air defenses, leaving the nation exposed and vulnerable to further attacks, while Israel has so far refrained from hitting critical Iranian oil and nuclear sites. That restraint could quickly shift if Iran moves forward with a substantial counterstrike. US, meanwhile, is constantly reinforcing its regional presence with B-52 bombers, tanker aircraft and Navy destroyers in a readjustment of military assets as the Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group prepares to leave the region. This high-stakes confrontation unfolds against the backdrop of complex regional dynamics and the looming U.S. presidential election. The timing remains delicate, with Iran carefully considering the U.S. election calendar while seeking to avoid direct American involvement. Tehran has left open the possibility of scaling down its response if ceasefires in Gaza and Lebanon materialize, but the threat of escalation remains acute. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Dr. Reza Khanzadeh is a Middle East expert and Iran analyst. Dr. Khanzadeh is joining us from Washington, D.C. Dr. Khanzadeh, thank you for making time for us and welcome. Iran says that it is not perturbed by the U.S. deploying the B-52 bombers to the region because they say their military has been in that region for as long as they can remember. Is Iran waiting for the U.S. presidential elections to happen and then the results to be announced and then they strike Israel?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I believe so. I know there's been some experts saying that Iran may attack prior to the elections, and with us, 24 hours away from that, I don't see Iran attacking Israel or even U.S. interests throughout the Middle East prior to the elections. Despite what's been said up to this point. And I think Iran's approach to if and or when they will attack does have something to do with who the next U.S. president will be. If we see a Trump presidency, compared to a Harris presidency, Iran will have to recalculate where they attack. Now the level of intensity will probably be the same regardless of who the U.S. president is, but geographically where they will attack will be different. With the Harris presidency, I imagine attacks taking place more along the lines of Iran's proxies and perhaps like their militias in Iraq, and targeting Israel interests or Israel itself. But if Trump is president, I think Iran will take a same approach, but actually target U.S. interests. And this goes back when Trump was president and he worked to assassinate Qasem Soleimani. And I think Iran is still holding that grudge and tactically waiting to see if they can attack based off that.
Dr. Khanzadeh, do you really think that Iran is concerned about whoever becomes president in the United States, be it Trump, be it Harris? Because they say that once they have made a choice of retaliating against Israel, that is a done deal. It doesn't matter who becomes president of the United States of America.
To a certain extent, that's true. For two reasons. So first, you're right. Regardless of who is the U.S. president, Iran has made they've made the decision to attack. Now, the extent to which the degree to which geographically which locations, whether it's going to be military bases or embassies or different types of interests, that's where the calculation changes, and that has to do more with the long-term strategy of the Islamic Republic, what they want the outcome to be beyond just their attack. Because we saw the attack that they did on Israel back in April, I think April 13th, and also on October 1st. And those attacks were quite similar, but it did pick up a bit in intensity as far as where they attacked and how they attacked. Now, when it comes to this third attack, if you will, if it does happen, you're right. It doesn't matter who the president is, but it does matter because it's not just the president; it's also the House and the Senate, Congress as well. Depending on which political party controls those three offices, the Senate, the House of the House of Representatives, and the White House. Depending on which political party, whether it's Republicans or Democrats, that could alter the way Iran attacks Israel and or U.S. interests throughout the Middle East, because as we know in the United States, the Democrats take a more of a diplomatic approach as opposed to their counterparts, the Republicans, which seem to be more hawkish and wanting to go at war and attack other interests of Iran throughout the Middle East, especially with Iran's proxies as well.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. I've been talking to Dr. Reza Khanzadeh, who is a Middle East expert and Iran analyst. Dr. Khanzadeh, thank you for your time and for talking to us today.
Thank you again.